Mariner Books and HarperAudio present The Californians, a novel, by Brian Castleberry. Performed by Mickey Shaloa, Rob Shapiro, Nancy Peterson, and Jim Meskimen. For Philip Mitchell. And when he asked the angels what these fires were, he learned that these were the fires that would kindle and eventually consume the world. One is the fire of falsehood, when we do not fulfill what we promised in baptism and renounce Satan and all of his works. Another is the fire of avarice, when we place our love of worldly riches before our love of the riches of heaven. The third is the fire of discord, when we do not fear to offend the souls of our neighbors even in superficial matters. And the fourth fire is irreverence, when we think it nothing to despoil and defraud those weaker than ourselves. Little by little, the fires merged together and became one immense conflagration. The Venerable Bede, 731 CE.
Tobey Harlan, 2024. In a couple of days, Tobey Harlan will steal from the walls of his father's home 3 large paintings by Stiegl titled Bracket Number 1 and Dream of Fire A and B, valued in the tens of millions and assumed by collectors to have been lost or destroyed 30 years prior, when the artist abruptly left Los Angeles for Toronto, where she still resides. Tobey will be arrested in Eugene, Oregon, with the bracket painting tacked to the wall of the extended stay hotel room he will book using his real name after having requested to pay with a cryptocurrency he knows nothing about. The other 2 paintings, concerned with the climate crisis and so of special interest to those who have followed Ms. Stiegl's work in the 21st century, will be tracked to a Luxembourg free port, where they will have been stored by the billionaire tech investor Osip Yander after a black market sale facilitated by Mr. Yander's personal assistant, Tobey Harlan's half-brother, James. But first came the evacuation of Tinsley, California, a town forgotten as soon as the nation heard its name. That day, halfway through lunch, Tobey Harlan rushed with everyone else from the Bad Bean Cafe where he waited tables. Out in the apocalyptic parking lot, he watched a massive cloud of smoke turning in the air like new mountains forming from the Earth's crust, and wondered what he'd done with his life. Somehow the sun was still overhead, doing its regular business, ho-hum, but the particulate-heavy wind was coming right at his eyes and lungs. In an odd way, it seemed personal. 2 spaces over, Tobey's fellow server, Natalia, sat in her car on the phone crying and slamming the butt of her hand on the wheel. The kitchen staff all leapt into the same Corolla and squealed from the parking lot. Vic the Dick, Tobey's boss, locked the steel back door of the restaurant as he shouted into his phone about picking up the kids from school and meeting at a truck stop outside Sacramento. The Bad Bean's towering sign appeared to sway in the wind, and Tobey still stood there like a goon, flipping his keys around on the ring with an index finger, frighteningly at ease, numb. Eventually, he dropped into the car, turned over the engine, and stared again at that growing cloud, miles wide, unfathomably high. It had its own peaks and whorls and plumes. It was mesmerizing. His stereo, always with a slow Bluetooth connection, returned to the podcast he'd been listening to that morning. Is really a completely different story than the book. Kubrick left out. Tobey shut off the volume. In the whooshing silence, he grabbed the short glass pipe from his glove box and thumbed his Bic. He took a long drag, held it a moment, and took another without exhaling. To his left, Vic the Dick sat in his shiny SUV, still on the phone, but now glaring down at Tobey in judgment before jerking the SUV back and launching out into the street without pausing to look for oncoming cars.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?